So here's a transshipment problem where some computer manufacturer is sending laptops to 5 cities, and they have 3 factories to send from, but they first have to go through a warehouse. So once you have this warehouse, getting some of the laptops from these 3 factories, then they have to send out to these 5 places. And it says that the table is for the cost, and the factories at Nashville, Toledo, Jackson each can make 500, 350, and 450 laptops. And for the demand, these cities have customers who already prepaid, they pre-ordered, so they're just waiting for their laptops, and they'll be mad if they don't get the laptops, right? Now, one thing that you want to make sure before solving any of these transshipment questions is to make sure that your supply is equal to the demand. If you add them, you get 1,300, and these you'll also see that it adds to 1,300. Sometimes if you have more demand than supply, then you're in trouble. Then you have to add something called the dummy origin. That makes it harder. However, if the supply is more than the demand, then there's no problem in meeting the goals. So in that case, you don't have to do anything. You can just solve it as it is. Alright, so the purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to solve such a problem using Excel, not Excel, but the Google Sheets. Okay, so let's try to use Google Sheets. I already have it opened, and as you can see, I already have it with the table copied. So this is the exact same table that was on the PowerPoint before. So what you do is, once you have this exactly copied, then the next thing that you want to do is to make the same copy over here somewhere, a little below. Let's place it here. Okay, so you have the same copy here, but then you want to delete the numbers. So I'll just delete, just shift and click will be able to select a rectangular place, and then you press delete and everything's gone. And then what you want to do is you want to put some dummy variables here, and what I'm trying to do is to think about how many from Nashville to send Springfield. So let's say they send 30 to here and 50 to Frankfurt, Toledo 60 here, and then 30. I'm just putting random numbers. You can also just put zeros if you want. So like 5, 5, 5, 5, or 9, 3, 5, 2, 1, 2. The reason I don't like putting 0 is by doing this you can kind of track whether your summations are correct or not. Okay, so once you have filled in these places, don't fill in the supply and the demand. What you want to do for the supply is to say this is the sum of these 2 lines, and what it does is so let's see, you click these 2 and I want to add them. So you put yeah, this summation right here, right? So you want to click these 2 and then sum, and then it automatically gives you that, right? Okay, so again you have to do click and then shift click so that both are selected, and then you click this one so that this is now filled with the sum of the 2. Once you have just one row done, then you can click this small dot on the right corner, and you can slide them down, and it automatically fills in with the summation. So 30 plus 50 is 80, 60 plus 30 is 90, 10 plus 20 is 30. And the purpose of these numbers is so that you can keep track of how many laptops Nashville sent to these warehouses in total. So Nashville manufactured 80 laptops, Toledo 90, Jackson 30, Well, this is not actually what it should be, because it should manufacture all 500, 350, 450 eventually, but the computer will, the Excel, not the Excel, keep saying Excel, Google Docs, Google Sheets will be able to figure out what to place, what kind of numbers to fill in here so that the supply matches with this one, okay? All right, and then the same thing goes here. You want to add these two. Click the summation. One strange behavior that's different from Excel and this Google Sheets is that in Excel you have to select all three. You click and drag, you select all three, and then you click summation. But then if you do that in Google Sheets, then the summation appears here, so it's no good. Okay, so it's something that you have to be careful. All right, I'm not too sure which one's better. I'm just used to Excel one. Well, anyways, you drag it again, just like that. Okay, so that's what you get. Okay. All right, so once you have filled in some random numbers in here and made the supply summation, demand summation to keep track of how many items are leaving Nashville in total and how many items in total is Chicago receiving, stuff like that, then you're ready to write down the cost function. So I'm going to calculate the cost. And if you think about the cost of shipping all these items, it goes like this. These are cost per item. So if you're sending 30 items from Nashville to Springfield, and the cost per item is 5 times 30 will be the total cost from to send items from Nashville to Springfield, right? And same thing happens, right? So it's 50 times 7, 60 times 3, 30 times 4, 10 times 7, 20 times 3, and then you have to add them up. And to write all of them will be time consuming. However, there's a really nice function in both Excel and Google Sheets, which is called the sum product. So sum product, you have this one, you click, and then what you want to do is you want to multiply this one, comma, with this one. We have just observed that these two have to be multiplied, and you have to add them, right? So the sum product of these two will give you the total cost for these. But then it doesn't end there, because we need to do another sum product of this one with this one, right? So you put another sum product. Let's see, sum product. Click that, and this multiplied with this one, and you have to add them. So sum product of this, and you compute, and this is the cost for shipping these items. Okay. Now, if you are done with writing the cost function, then you're ready to do the solver. But wait, there's just one more thing that I forgot, and that one is we also have to keep track of how many items the warehouse received and how many items the warehouse is sending out, because they have to be equal, they have to balance, right? So what I want to do is I want to click and drag down, and then you click sum, so that now the sum is here. So Springfield in this scenario received total of 100, and then go over here. Oh, Frankfurt also received that much, and then the number of items shipped out from Springfield, sum, you get 29, whereas if you go down, if you move this down, it's 13. Okay. All right. So these numbers will be used to keep track of how many items are coming into the warehouse and how many will leave. Right. Okay. So now we're ready to do the solver. Now, to do the solver, you have to click Add-ons and Open Solver, and unless you have added this Open Solver there, If you don't see this, then you have to install this by clicking Get Add-ons. So if you get add-ons and click Open Solver, then there's this one. This is the one that I'm using. Okay, so I have it already installed, but if you don't have it installed, please click and install it. And once you have it installed, you can use it. Okay, so open sidebar, and now the sidebar is opened. And in this sidebar, I want to click this function. This is the cost, right? This cell is clicked because this is the one I want to minimize. That's my objective cell. Okay, so I click over here and click update, and automatically reads where my cursor is at and reads it and says that's B11, and I want to minimize. That's good. Okay, and then for the variable cells, I want the solver to figure out what numbers to put in here so that it still is under the supply but minimize the cost, right? So this is my first choice for the variable cells, add. But it doesn't end there. I still need to figure out how to vary these ones, okay? So this one here, I add again. And then make sure you click the unconstrained variables non-negative. And then now you have to add constraints, okay? So how do we click constraints? Okay, so first is these are the amount that Nashville, Toledo, Jackson is manufacturing, and that has to be less than 500, 350, 450. So what you do is you update here. So we got that, and then I need that to be less or equal to these three numbers. So I update here, and then I save. That's my first constraint. Okay, there are three types of constraints. The first one is that the number of items manufactured by each manufacturing factory, each factory, is limited, right? So that's the first one. It has to be less or equal. And then the second type is about the warehouses, and the third one is the number of items that each city will get. Okay, so you need one constraint for the factories, one constraint for the one set of constraints for the warehouses, and another set of constraints for the cities. Okay, the demand. All right, so for the warehouses, the important thing about warehouses is that they have to ship out everything they received. Okay, we are going to assume that the warehouses do not get to keep any of the laptops. They have to send them out. Okay, so that means how much they receive. This is how much they receive, right? That has to equal, so you click equal here, equal to how much they send out, which is this one. Okay, update, and then save. Okay, and then you need to say that the demand right here has to be met. So this number has to be equal to this one. If not, then you're going to have some angry customers because they already paid the money and they'll be asking, where's my money, where's my laptop, right? And make sure that you change this to equal and save, and that's it. You have all the three types of constraints. We said these are to be varied, and then we want to minimize B11, which is the cost, so we can solve it. All right, so we can solve. Scroll down, and when you see the solve model, we're going to click that, and it's processing, it's changing the numbers, trying to figure out what to do. And then let's see, it's solved. Okay, so apparently this is the answer. Okay, yeah. Now apparently this is a little different from what I had with Excel, and that could happen because there could be several equivalent ways to get the minimum cost. Okay, so apparently that's what happened here. Okay.